Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. The Fever lose to the Mystics 84-88 in Cambridge. And this team is so frustrating right now. I gotta be real. Like, we come out the first quarter, we're looking great. We're looking prepped. Sims is off to a hot start. She hits her first shot. We get a three. We're limiting Citron to scoring opportunities. Kiki's getting in there a little bit, but it's okay. Like, we hold them to like 16 points. Defense is on point. Second quarter comes around. Slippage starts to start. We get up to a 13-point lead. Eventually it falls down. We end up 5 at the half. And that's not a bad half. Come out of the half in the dreaded third quarter, and we are flat. And I feel like in quarters like this, it just feels like we're slashing our own tires. Like, we are stifling our own momentum at every turn we can. Like, the team came out and they literally looked like they were uncoordinated all of a sudden. Like, they were just missing easy shots. They were like overshooting, like they were trying to draw fouls or something. I don't know what's going on with this team coming out into quarters and having the performance they have had. And the defense was ugly. It's UGLY ugly. Like, way too many missed assignments, way too many players left wide open. Alicia Clark, traded from the Storm, disgruntled, wants to go somewhere, goes to the Mystics, who, have traded away Brittany Sykes, but they have these two rookies that are balling. And Alicia Clark is sitting out there, and her entire career basically is she sits and she catches and she shoots threes. And what do? We leave her wide open. And this happened multiple times on assignment. Some of it was Odyssey Sims, coming down on a player. We leave a player out. We close out too slowly. They get an open three look and they sink it. And sometimes it was Citron, but Alicia Clark got like back-to-back wide open shots. And one of them was like, I think it might have been in transition, but it was so wide open. She had like the entire shot clock to take that shot. Like, she could have like read a short, children's bedtime story. The time she had out there just to like line up and take the most free 3-pointer probably of her entire career. And it's unacceptable for our team to expect that we are going to beat teams when we are giving their best personnel, their 3-point shooter personnel, open threes. And we've done this since the beginning of the season. We've done it against the Sparks. It's been our Achilles heel. We've left Azari Stevens wide open. We're leaving Kayla Thornton when she was healthy. We were leaving her wide open for threes. Like, it's nonstop. And you can only say, like, know your personnel, and Odyssey Sims is new and all this kind of stuff so many times in post-game interviews. And I haven't watched the post-game interview, but if I swear to God, if any of them say know your personnel, or we didn't come out with like intensity tonight, and it's like, you could only know your faults for so long before they're not valid excuses anymore. If you're constantly having a problem coming out with energy and with fight and physicality, then you have to fix that. And you can't just like fix it for a couple games and then take a couple games off. And then, sure, we can make a few excuses. Maybe you're on game 3 or whatever of a long road trip, but you're home. This is your home crowd. They're energizing you up. They're on your side. You have the ability to swing momentum so hard, and they can't seem to do it. They just kind of cede it back to the other team, and they give them these big 3 opportunities and ways to get back in and get excited. And we get into crappy foul situations. And then here we are with quarters like the third quarter. And I mean, we held Citron to low points early, but spoilers, that didn't happen. She was sinking some sick shots. I mean, props to her. She hung 21 on us and had some nasty shots. But, every time we get an offensive foul, sure enough, Natasha Howard, someone sets an illegal screen and then it immediately comes back. It's like, you just got to stop. You just worked hard for that. And then you just give it right back and nullify any momentum you could have made or done. Just slashing your own tires on the way. And it's just, there was some good, I guess I could say, like Dantos was actually making shots tonight. Her 3 came back. She hit a brilliant buzzer beater at the end of the third. If it wasn't for that string of threes at the end of the third, we would have been down, but we ended up 2 And so it gave the impression that, oh, the fever of lead for 3 quarters. Like, we got this in the fourth quarter. And all the signs are pointing to like, no, you are bleeding out. you you are in trouble. This is gonna be another pucker up, end of game situation because you're not being consistent taking care of business. I still hate the back-to-back turnovers on trying to feed her in the post. Please, for the love of God, stop. I get she's a big body. I get that you think you want to try that, but it's not working. And we had back-to-back turnovers on it, and it's not worth it. Basically, have dead plays by having Dantas in and then having a weaker defensive player. Even if she's making shots on the offensive side, it's like, please, 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 please stop it. You have enough data. We have enough insight. It's not worth it. There's other like hitter cutting maybe, but don't just post her up. We don't need to do that anymore. Odyssey, 11 points on 50% shooting. She was pushing pace for us. I love to see that. She was getting to the rim, but it's clear she's still installing on the offense. She's messing up on defense and leaving some wide open shots. And that has to be cleaned up because that also costs you games in close games. And so we get to the fourth quarter and the master plan is coming to fruition to like rest our starters, get them ready so we can have a mostly full quarter of our starters. And frankly, I liked a lot of the rotations early tonight, especially since our bench was actually scoring off of them. I'm still kind of wondering in certain situations where we're going to a set to try to get 3-pointers, why we're not getting Bibby in there, why we're just kind of settling for that. But, we kept enough offensive threats on the floor. We got some rest minutes for Aaliyah Boston, I think, again, I think she had like 26 minutes tonight, but we left her in a little bit too long in a few instances because you can see when she starts to get tired and her shot and her play starts to fall. And you're like, okay, well, what are we doing here? But we get her out. We get her with like 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Our starters are in. Like, let's make a charge. Let's make a run. And we kind of start to do it. But Kelsey Mitchell tonight, 14 points, but she was 6 for 19 shooting. That's not great. She had 9 assists though. That was cool. And when I look at this game, it's like you have to be able to adapt to what your weapons are doing. And it felt like it's great when a coach has trust in their players, but they need to be able to react live. And I feel like if I can point to anything that really bugs me about Stephanie White and the coaching staff so far this season is that they're so slow to fix rotations, to understand who is hot on the floor. And there needs to be a better feel in the game. I know that a very common fan complaint is we'll have a player pop off and get hot and make a bunch of shots, and then we take them out and we rotate in another player. And sometimes it is like the rotation is to respond to another rotation they see from the other team, or maybe that player's actually tired, even though they just hit a string of shots. But a lot of times too, it's like we're just kind of autopiloting the player out, and we should be again looking to feed them while they're hot and while they're dialed in. This happens to Bibby a lot. This has happened to Sophie a lot. To Hall when she's even went on some streaks, we've pulled her out. So I think that really there has to be a reevaluation here of like, what are we doing with our rotations and how are we reacting to the performance of players live in the game? And while I appreciate the confidence in Kelsey Mitchell and getting her to shoot, you've had 3 quarters where she's kind of in the fourth quarter, she has been pretty clutch. But she has 9 assists for you. Use her like you would Clark. Use her gravity. And we did find success with her where she would drive and she would kick out to Sophie or kick out to Hull or kick out to someone and they would hit a 3. And that's what we should be doing and utilizing her in these crunch situations. And I love that we utilized Aaliyah Boston tonight. She got 20 points, 9 rebounds, didn't have a lot of assists, but she was grinding on defense on both ends of the floor, had some good stops to get us some last minute looks in this game. Howard had a weird night, 11 points, 30% shooting, and 4 turnovers. But ultimately, what comes down to is the ending sequence of this game. So the ending sequence of this game looks like this. Okay, we're down by 4. Seconds. We're getting into crunch time. Low seconds on the clock. And now, if you're down 3, it's expected that you're gonna shoot a 3. And I get that it is expected you're gonna shoot a 3, and it's expected that Kelsey Mitchell's gonna get the ball and she's gonna take that 3. But you have so many 3-point shooters. You've rotated in Odyssey Sims to be another facilitator 3 threat, so you can potentially open someone up for an open 3. Like, it's clear you have options, but instead what happens is Kelsey Mitchell drives and she goes for a layup, which is a pretty open layup, but she yips it and misses. And so now you're down by 3. You have to foul. We foul. They go. They miss a free throw, but they make one. They're up by 4. And, if Kelsey Mitchell had made that 2-pointer, now because of the missed free throw, and the thought process is like you take the unexpected easy shot. Then if they do miss a free throw, you're within 2. It's an easier shot to tie, or you can win the game. But I hate that because it relies on them getting a ball to someone that's gonna miss a free throw, which Citron was on fire whenever she got to line tonight. So you're relying on them to miss a free throw to have a shot, and then like you just end up in the same situation, right? So like now we're still kind of in a similar situation. But we're now because we missed, we're down 4. Go down again. We do a play, get to Aaliyah Boston. Aaliyah Boston takes the 2. Now we're down by 2. We foul. They come back down. They make the 2 free throws. We're down by 4. We don't really have a shot. Kelsey Mitchell gets, we advance the ball with the reset. Kelsey Mitchell takes the 3 from the corner, misses. It doesn't really matter. And you just have to ask the same question that everyone's asking in their head. It's just like, why in these crunch situations does it feel like we're doing something unorthodox? I get the faith in your team and the players. I get that, but it's not working. Like the stats look really bad for Stephanie White in these crunch game situations. And when I look at the decision trees, it's like we're cooking too much. Like, get an open 3 for someone. It doesn't have to be Kelsey Mitchell. Use Kelsey Mitchell's gravity to get someone an open look and tie the game. Put some pressure on them. Because worst case scenario happened where you drove for the 2, you wasted more time, and you missed. And it's like, man, oh man. Like, yeah, it's just a frustrating way to lose. And this team needs to wake up. They need to wake up at some point. They can't mess around. Our schedule's not a cakewalk anymore. We can't keep coming out flat in these quarters, and we can't keep slashing our own tires and our own momentum. And we won the first quarter, but if you look at the next, and we were ahead in the third quarter, but if you look at the quarters, we lost 3 of the 4 quarters this game, and we lost the game. We deserve to lose the game. Doesn't matter how good you start. It matters how well you finish. And again, we stumbled at the finish line. And it's frustrating because I've been someone that's been very supportive of Coach White. I think that there are a lot of things that early in the season, and I can acknowledge that there's a lot of adversity and things that are being thrown at them. And there's times where they've overperformed, and then there's times where they underperform like this. And there's things that are just consistent now this late into the season that it's like, okay, there needs to be improvement in that coaching discipline, because I can tell that they're obviously looking at tape. They're obviously making adjustments, and they're slowly fixing some of the things, but I would love to see like a lot more live adjustments to what is happening on the floor, the performance of the players in the individual nights. And yes, it's easy to backseat some of the times, but having Sophie Cunningham basically be virtually a non-factor in the first half scoring wise, and then she gets 2 threes in the third, and then she's gone again, is like, what are we doing? Like there's so many things like that just like poke you in the eye enough times. And I can be excited for some of the players here, but it just kind of feels like a mess when overall functionally the system is not working, and we get down to these crunch times and weird decisions are being made, and we're short another game. We're short another win. Got another loss in that column, and every game matters. Every game matters. So let me know down in the comments what your highlight of this game was. Get a little pick me up, if you will. And do you think we will get to bounce back versus the Sun? This is a game that we should on paper win, but so far this team has been pretty Jekyll and Hyde. And yes, they took care of the Sky, and the Sky are a very troubled, bad team right now. The Sun, a little bit similar, but honestly tougher team than the Sky. And do you think that we will be able to take them down? Are you confident in that game? Let me know down in the comments. Like, subscribe, and as always, remember, you're going to be amazing today because you are amazing. I'll catch you next episode.